Hi, Scrambled, how are you? You want to play Don't Starve? No, you don't, because you're Scrambled. I hate this game. Let me ask an even better question. Would you like to hear me rant about every single thing that's wrong with this game? Because I want to hear me rant about every single thing that's wrong with this game. In fact, I have been listening to myself rant about every single thing that's wrong with this game. For quite a while now. And the entirety of yesterday. And the entirety of the day before that. How did that happen? Okay, so that's happened a few times. That was actually a glitch. Because the only time he's ever supposed to move is if there's like a bunch of prolonged static. And sometimes the camera will blink for a split second. And that's just like kind of what the camera does. There's literally no reasoning behind that. And he moved during the blink, which is not a possible thing. There's about a 60% chance that the audio cue will actually work and pull him into the room that he's right next to. That was the sound of him going into the vent, and also the sound of him leaving the vent, but he appeared right there before the sound of him leaving the vent actually came up, so that was also a glitch. Also, this game has no reset button. I've actually sat here hitting the little monitor thing and exit, and the monitor thing and exit for 2 straight minutes before. That was super cool. If he feels like it, he can move 2 rooms within 2 seconds. As you just saw from the little glitch thing that just happened. The audio cues for him entering and leaving the vents actually overlap most of the time because he goes into and goes out of a vent that quickly. So unless the room with the vent... It's like, if he's in this room right here, this room has to already be sealed or else I'm screwed. He can go into a different room, go into that room's vent, and then come out of that room's vent, all in the time that it's taking me to reset one of these systems. Which, you know, that means there's literally nothing I can do about that. That was one vent cue, so he actually attacked me before leaving the vent. Because, you know, logic. There's Balloon Boy, which, yeah, most of the time he appears on your screen and you just have to go to a different camera before he, like, pops out at you. Other times he just pops out at you even if you're not looking at a screen with him on it. And sometimes the annoyingly long static of Springtrap moving around actually covers up Balloon Boy, which means you cannot see him, so he will attack you regardless of the fact that he didn't actually appear on the monitor. And that was him entering a room and then immediately leaving the room within the span of 2 seconds. Again. Marionette is insta-kill. Nothing you can do to prevent it, it's just luck. I haven't changed my strategy at all. Nothing about anything that I've been doing so far has changed in the slightest. Which, there's no skill to this. Like, I got fed up with FNAF 2 a few times, and so, like, oh, skill doesn't even matter. It does. And it mattered quite a lot. And you needed quite a lot of skill to actually be able to do it. This game, literally, it just doesn't matter in the slightest. Because as I've said, I haven't been doing anything differently. I haven't gotten faster with what I'm doing. I haven't gotten more precise with what I'm doing. it's been guesswork the entire time, and just kind of hoping that your audio cues work. Because, like, if you're seeing how slow the, like, all of the systems are actually reset, like, there's no way I can reset the system faster if I'm better at the game. It just resets at a horribly slow rate, and there's nothing else to that. He's also camouflaged with every single room. So, like, I can be looking directly at him and have no clue he's there. And in fact, I actually, after day 1 of doing this, I had to go to Google Images and look up a picture of every single room with him in it, so I know what the room looked like with him in it. Because, like, that's him right there. That single hand that's behind a blue-tinted box. Also, there's an object slightly to the right of him when he's not in there that looks exactly like his hand.
Hi.
And that was another instance of vent sound, overlapping attack animation. Actually, haven't seen that one before. Actually had it closed, and then he still went through. The vent sound for him leaving the vent actually happened right after I finished closing it. Spam needs to get this. Spam would love this.
Hi.
Really? Yes, you're right there, and you're in here, and you're in here, and you're right there at the same time. Clearly. It makes so much sense now. I've spent hours just looking up information about this. I've watched several videos, watched his movement patterns. I've watched how the nightmare animatronics work. I've seen every single strategy for this, which are all basically the exact same. And it just doesn't work. Like, I'll play an audio sound and it doesn't work. I'll play another audio sound and it doesn't work. I'll play another audio sound and he's in my room. Like, great, I played an audio sound there. That prolonged him for 2 seconds. There's nothing I can do differently. There's nothing I should do differently. It just hasn't worked. I don't know why it hasn't worked. I don't know if I've just been getting stupidly unlucky, or if I need to wait after I play an audio cue, or if I need to reset devices more often. I don't know. It just... like, I've pointed out like 10 glitches for this game already. There's literally a fake Springtrap that I can see, apparently, in every single room at times. You can move all over the place. You can move out of a room, into another room with a vent, get in the vent, and get out of the vent while I'm resetting something. I can't do anything about that. If I see Marionette, there's nothing I can do about that. If I see Chica, there's nothing I can do about that. If I see Foxy, I can technically do something about it. Like the rarity at which I see Foxy, it's not worth it to hesitate every single time I scroll my screen to the left. Because chances are I'm not even going to see Foxy anyway because he blends in. Just like Springtrap, he blades in with everything. Every time I look at Springtrap, I can barely see him. %50 of the time, if I look at a camera with Springtrap in it, I can't see Springtrap. So I look at another camera and I end up dying later because I couldn't find him. Die! Every single time I move, would you stop it? How did you get there? It's ridiculous. That right there, he just jumped from camera 6 to camera 2. So for FNAF 1 and 2, I did a voiceover just trying to explain the strategy and guide you through everything I did and the mechanics of the game and all of that. And this time is going to be a bit different because this is the easiest game that I've played so far, but it's also the most confusing out of the three. So from everything I've seen, everybody basically uses the exact same strategy. All you have to do is keep him in camera 6, 7, and 8 pretty much the entire time. If he gets past camera 5, then just spam camera 2 with audio without resetting the video. So the thing about Springtrap is that he is incredibly fast, and you resetting the audio devices and camera system and everything else is incredibly slow. The wind up to play audio is slow. Everything you do is just really slow, and it just works against you. This game has a lot of problems, and it just doesn't work right. But it is possible. He actually moves fast enough to the point where if you're just sitting there resetting audio devices or something like that, from the time that you start resetting the audio device to the time that you stop resetting it, he can move rooms, go into that vent, and go out of that vent and kill you before you're even finished and have anything to do about it.
Which one
this
is
means
actually
that you need to keep him as far from open vents as possible. That's why you always keep him in 6, 7, and 8, because between those 3 cameras, there's only one vent in that area. If he goes into a vent, then you should be able to hear it whether you're looking at the cameras or not. If you hear a sound immediately after that, that means that you're screwed. You're going to die because he went into an unclosed vent. If the vent he went into was closed, then he'll go into the vent at first, spend a few moments in there, and then leave it. Him going into vents is actually incredibly good because it prolongs him for several seconds, and the more he does that, the better for you. As for how if you know he's moving, you should be able to see prolonged static on the screen, even if there is a camera error. So you can be looking at a black screen that you know has Springtrap in it, and you know when he moves because a bunch of static will appear on the screen and stay there for a few seconds. If you're looking at a screen with Springtrap in it and he leaves but there's not prolonged static, you are looking at a fake Springtrap. Fake Springtraps appear, from what I can tell, right after ventilation errors while the screen is still flashing red in your office. You'll basically be able to see Springtrap on multiple cameras at the same time. However, most of these Springtraps that are fake have different positions that they sit in. So if you see Springtrap in a different position than you're used to right after you got a ventilation error, then it might be fake. As for actually seeing Springtrap, I highly recommend looking up pictures of what every single camera looks like with him in it, and what every single camera looks like without him in it. He camouflages into every room very well, and it took a very long time before I could actually see him when I looked into a camera in every single room. The video you're watching now is actually quite a bit brighter than what I was looking at, so it should be easier to see him. As for the system restart menu, always prioritize ventilation, then audio devices, and camera system. If ventilation is going off, turn that off immediately. Springtrap will start moving very fast and he can kill you within seconds, even if he's in camera 10 and he does not use vents. Audio devices need to constantly be getting reset even if there's no error there, just to make sure that you will have an extra slot available to start restarting something if you get a camera system error. Though if you get a camera system error, it's not the end of the world. If you have reset something and you still have to reset the camera systems, don't worry about it, just play sound where you think you need to pull him to, and then reset the camera system later. Finally, for the Phantom animatronics, probably the easiest one to deal with is Freddy, who will walk by the window every so often. As long as you have the camera monitor up or the system restart menu up, you should be fine. If you go in between the monitors quickly, even while he's walking directly through the window, you should be fine. There's not much you can really do about Mangle, just never look in camera 4 and you won't ever have a problem with that. Balloon Boy will appear right in front of your camera. All you have to do is switch to a different camera view very quickly and you will avoid him. Foxy will appear randomly on the prop box to the right of your door. If you see him, quickly go open the cameras real quick and then close them and then go back to resetting the system if you need to. Chica, you can supposedly just look away from her camera fast enough and she'll do nothing, but I don't know about this. And Marionette appears in camera 8. Now, considering that camera 8 is the main camera you want Springtrap in because there's no vents, this is a very bad thing. You basically just have to always assume that Marionette is in camera 8. So when you open camera 8, play the audio, get out of the camera fast. If you rely on reaction time, it's not going to work. As long as you look away fast enough, you should be fine, but the window to look away is very, very tiny, so you just have to always assume that he's there. Oh my god. Oh my god, finally! Oh my god. Oh my god. Why did that take so long? Dear God.